Hey, welcome to another Mad Chats and Recaps with myself and Tasha. You doing good? We have our hot backgrounds to match, of
Because we're hot.
course, us. Um, yeah. First off, I guess a couple, which actually I'll just do that at the end. Announcements should be at the end, not the beginning, Stephanie. So we'll start off with the Forsaken. This is recaps. I'm all over the place. This is
We are
recaps
professionals.
for the week of August the 2nd through the 8th of 2021. And again, we'll start with the Forsaken as we usually do. The group continued to discuss the library's offer to meet, finally deciding that meeting with them would probably be the best opportunity they'll have in obtaining a contact or even an inkling as to what the library could be up to. Setting out, their friend Polo in tow, they stop by the boat market and make some purchases, and then make their way to the stables at the northern gate. There, most of the party purchase riding lizards to make their way north to the library's chosen meeting point on the shores of Rakoth. Meanwhile, Gerbil and Reneria stay behind to utilize Gerbil's collection of sending stones, reaching out for information. One of the ones contacted was Lashta, their acquaintance from the orphanage in Rilesk. After wrapping up their business, our adventurers leave the city, a few making a point to look over into the newest rift as they pass over. Crossing over the rift, Gerbil receives a mental message from Lashta that she may have more information than she originally let on.
I don't like that lizards were rode on during y'all's session. Just want to say that.
Look,
Li-
these were bred
Listen,
for riding.
listen. Anyways, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Tasha, what happened over on well, what's the last thing that happened on Kira's Lament? Oh, so many
No, it
weeks ago.
was a lifetime ago.
She
Let's see. So our villains, last I remember, were challenged with a crypt full of spirits. So two of their number, Thaxel and Evie, fell under possession as battle began, leaving the others to carefully navigate matters. With quick thinking, Harlan bound the two possessed allies, allowing the team to set to the work of dispatching these spirits. With the relics securely in tow and their allies successfully exorcised, Mavriel used some advanced magic to call everyone to her and transport them all to the entrance of the sinkhole where the dungeon began. Together from there, they returned to the Omega Tower, where Afa worked the ritual to save off the collapse of the Omega Curtain. During that time, the party goes about their business. Evie heads to the docks, and before leaving for good, she leaves a handwritten note, some booze that Thaxel would have kept to herself, but they were
Yeah.
gifts, and a message in the sand. And as Ava shares the good news that the ritual was not only successful, but also deshrouded their previous quadrant, the news is bittersweet as the crew finds out about Evie's departure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I'm still sad about Evie leaving, but Evie's been leaving for weeks now. So,
I finally come to terms with
yeah,
it.
I think the mourning process is over.
I think so.
Um So, on the last Penumbra Assembly from a couple of weeks ago, the LaCroix boys have breakfast at the Marvelous Egg Inn and Tavern, appalled at the quality of the newly featured scrambled eggs on the continental breakfast cart. After some frustrating exchanges with the hired help, Frankie finds herself back in the kitchen to fix the situation. Eggs successfully scrambled, the group head out in an effort to find the missing boy, Will. They go underground first, encountering narrow alleys moving beneath the city and a pit for dice games. There they met a friendly man named Zeb who directs them towards the gambling den and promises to keep a lookout for the lad. At the gambling den, they approach the smarmy owner of the facility, who offers to keep an eye and future information if they do something for him topside. Turning the offer down, the group head back to Zeb with an offer he has trouble refusing. Before moving towards Topside once more to go to the Ebony Forest Cafe, where Will's sweetheart supposedly works. After speaking with her, they head back downstairs into the sector occupied by the underground circus, where some highly questionable acts are performed nightly, and where the young Will may have ran off to last. Dun dun
Dun.
dun!
I'm glad we were on the same
There was a
wavelength
lot
there.
of running back and forth in that episode. I just realized. Like, they were just going back and topside, downside, downstairs, upstairs. It was a regular BBC drama. Anyways,
Love it. Love it.
Stormfall. Tasha, please.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Let's see. So our heroes continue their intense battle with one of Ethaz's Zolkirs, named Garton Earthgrip.
The dwarf.
With Finhold and Lilith arriving and the city's forces holding off the undead outside, our heroes square off against Garton. The flow of battle shifts back and forth as each side loses and gains advantages. Many of these forces seem to have some type of undead fortitude, allowing them to stand back up with 1 point of health instead of dying.
Yep.
Finally, Garton is taken down, only to return through necromantic magic using the body of a giant undead ogre. Before he has time to properly recover, though, our heroes had one small window to take him down for good. As Garton prepared a huge spell to eliminate everyone, sans himself, our friends gave it their all, with Mort making the final blow, finishing Garton off for good. Garrick took down the final spare enemy in the room as well, giving our heroes a moment to breathe and recover.
This effing battle lasted like 3 sessions.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a big one.
It sounds intense.
It was a big one. So glad that that's over.
Good for you. So I'm proud.
Thank you. Thank you. I did what I could. Over on Tower of Dreams on Saturday, after a confusing moment of possible recollection between the Valkyrie and our Valkyrie, the Valkyrie leaves the tower to gather her troops for the move. Afterwards, Sethin pays a surprise visit to check in with the party, which leads to many revelations, some confrontations, and a surprise. As Sethin goes to check on her family, Valkyrie and Vaughn, with new information that Dawn and Dusk are their old friends War and Peace, go to confront the 2 back room workers in their place of business. Later, Nathaniel, Ritz, and Seth check out what Prime has been up to. Then, after a heartwarming conversation, all seems to go wrong as fog fills the VIP room and Sethin disappears before the Dominator's eyes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun! Yeah.
I hear, or little birdie told me,
Yes.
I don't know which Valkyrie it is, but they're acting like Elzaris, and I just want to say, I'm so proud.
That's my Valkyrie.
I'm so proud of you.
That's her PC Valkyrie. Yeah.
Keep Elzaris alive.
I definitely will. I saw the comparison being made, and I was like, probably not wrong. It's okay.
It's a compliment.
You know, that's what happens when you play a chaotic character.
Yeah.
Chaos. So
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
So over on In Extremis.
Well, let's see. Together, Brilith and Liazana reach the end of their mystical journeys through their memories. Brilith recalling a fond memory of a pivotal moment in her life with her father, and Liazana watching a scene unfold from her memory that she had locked away. The commander of the forces responsible for the massacre, the one from the Order of Spectres, talking along in the field a mile or so behind their house, face to face with her father. Glowing Order of Spectre tattoos on both of them. What? The two returning to the ship as Liazana shares her revelation with Brilith. A few days later, they finally reach Atmos and dock at the harbor. The party splits up to find information in the city. Zia and Sinister head to the religious ward seeking access to the prayer, while Brilith and Liazana head to meet Brilith's patron. Together, Sinister and Zia are able to connect with the Thieves' Guild and gather a clue on a slip of paper. Meanwhile, Breelith's patron grows impatient and heads to the ship to meet Breelith, causing a panic. Okay. The crew keeps him distracted as Breelith and her old teacher head to the ship. As the day wraps up, a strange, powerful figure with an army in tow disembarks his ship across the dock from the Tempest, being marched into town. Huh.
What does that mean?
Huh.
Guess we have to find out next week.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was Agatha all along.
It was Agatha all along.
All along. Okay.
Over on Obsidian Scar.
Right.
Or the last Obsidian Scar we had. Before setting sail on their recon mission to the Margatus Trench to collect intel on the Giants for Commander Rory and the Dragons, the crew decide to take a few modifications to their previously owned and previously notorious ship. Jules gets an interesting offer from Lashana, and both he and Derek send out letters of their own. Ileana thinks ahead and gets the non-water breathing party members some magical hats. And as the heroes hit the high seas after determining the best route, they pass by familiar landmarks and under beautiful but ominous skies before landing in a town a few of them have only heard of in passing, Galona. The party disembark to find themselves at the Old Hound, a kitschy little tavern where the drinks and appetizers allow the crew to get a little too loose. A comical evening ensues with broken margarita glasses, lots of milk, and an attempt to prove that cats really do have 9 lives. Ileana escorts home the very intoxicated Derek and Lennox, while Finn and Jules both find locals to keep them company. The next morning, the party set sail, heading to their next stop, San Bartos. But by midday, there are more serious discussions about a workplace injury and a possible inappropriate incident that causes the group to create an HR department and call an all-hands meeting the next day.
Gross.
Yep. Yeah, so that's all of our recaps for the week. We have a few announcements. First, birthdays. I don't know of any coming up. I mean, I'm unaware of any coming up this week. But I do know Victoria's birthday was last week. So happy birthday to Victoria. Happy belated birthday.
And
Deontay's birthday's this week?
No, it was last week.
It was last week. Happy birthday, Deontay.
And I think last week was also Franco's birthday. I'm pretty sure.
Happy birthday, Franco? That's a surprise to me. Okay. Steffi needs to work on being a better friend, obviously. So announcements. No Penumbra Assembly this week because we're having our Patreon movie night. So if you're not part of our Patreon, you should be. Because $20 and up tiers gets a monthly movie night hosted by myself. I mean, not me by myself, but hosted by me.
It's hosted by Seth and it's great.
Where we watch a bunch of like some bad, sometimes good movies, but usually bad movies and laugh at them.
Really bad. Yeah.
And also a couple of other things that, well, Curious Lament might be returning this week. We're unsure. Just keep an eye on Discord. Obsidian Scar won't be returning until next Sunday, so we still have a couple weeks on that, maybe. And then also, due to my own schedule change, unfortunately, DC and Mad Art with Stuff is going to be put on hold hiatus for the time being, an extended hiatus, until something else can be worked out. But we're looking at maybe having like a farewell episode for Dungeon Craft, so stay tuned to the Discord for that as well. Other than that, I got nothing else. It's been great. So we'll see you in Discord. We'll see you in Twitch chat throughout the week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Hello. Hi. Welcome to another The Forsaken. That happens every Monday night here on Madbird Streams at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, welcome to those in chat. For those that have stuck around, sorry for the late start. I'm just going to use the excuse that I have no excuse. I have no excuse. So yeah. No. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a Kazeel break. I don't think that Pixron's going to be playing tonight, so we are down possibly 2 players. But the show must go on. So we're excited to be here, back after a week off. And, it's Gerbils' fault because it's a bugbear. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wait.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Whatever.
Just accept it. Anyways.
Wow.
So, we will start off by giving a nice little recap of last week's episode. Deciding to accept the library's offer of a one-on-one chat, our adventurers wrap up their time in the city of the altar. Gerbil used some sending stones to contact some allies, one including Lashta, their friend from the orphanage in Rilesk. The others head out to do some shopping as well as check out transportation options at the city stables. After deciding on some colorful riding lizards, well, some of them did, a check-in with Dredea, and one last discussion on if their business in the city was really done, the group head out in the northern gates of the altar and into the slaughter glade. Just as they leave the city, however, Gerbil receives a surprising message from Lashta. I may have more information for you than I originally let on. Do you need me there in the demiplane? And there was other stuff with that too, but that was just my recollection of it a week later.
It's more than I recollected, so that's good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yep.
So that brings us to this week on The Forsaken.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so y'all had just traveled over the kind of makeshift bridge that they did after the rift opened up there at the northern gate into the altar. But they had built up something, so you were able to kind of get across that. As you crossed over, it looked like typical rift that you had seen thus far, with the hotness coming, kind of blasting out of it. Those that looked down into the rift saw like some kind of like changing of color, and you could see these kind of glimpses of a city deep down beneath. You also notice that as you approach the rift, and I didn't mention this last week, but as you approach the rift, all of your riding lizards kind of like paused and then started going again. And you passed over the bridge, and that's when Gerbil received the message. And that was just something that Gerbil heard. I can't speak this evening. That was just something that Gerbil heard, and not the rest of you. And how does that... Wait a minute. Let me see how that works. Oh, actually, Gerbil, make an Arcana check for me. And while you're doing that, I will roll to see who gets inspiration this evening.
I had 12 Arcana.
Okay. Okay. You kind of get the sense, Gerbil, that you can probably respond back to to her message.
That's right. That's how sending works. Okay.
And also, real quick, I rolled has everyone rolled inspiration? If you haven't rolled, please do so. Roll a d20, so that way we can see who gets it this evening.
Roll a 7.
Okay.
I rolled a 2. I'm glad I got that out of the way now.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. Zavar, you get it because it was a 15. So you rolled a 15.
Wow. All the
Remember.
nosy.
Look at that.
Remember us.
Look at that. All right, cool. Yeah, so you get the feeling, Gerbil, that you can respond back to this message. And it was just, Lashta just saying that that she was using one of the kids to reach out to you, using their powers, that she might have more information about the library, and if you needed her to, should I come to Dimglimt.
Um, uh, you, yes, I mean, any information that you could provide, I think we could use whatever you know and whatever help you can provide if you're able. Oh, I haven't been counting my words. Um, uh, we are just leaving the altar. Let us know if you come to this point.
Okay, I would say that you probably got cut off at "let us know." Because after you mentioned I
Yeah.
haven't been counting, that was 18 words you said after
Oh,
saying that.
That was okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I had 2 weeks to think of something. I completely forgot.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, it fits the character.
So the rest of
It
you,
does.
the rest of you would have heard Gerbil respond. That way. Everyone make a perception check to see how. Were you trying to be discreet with your response, Gerbil?
Probably not, because he was
Okay.
too startled by it.
So everyone make a perception check for me, please. Okay.
4.
8. So good at this.
I'm technically writing on the same lizard as Zavar right behind him. So
Okay.
Zavar probably thinks I just talked into his ear.
Yeah, and I rolled for it as well. So mostly everyone, everyone heard it. So you would have heard Gerbil respond to Lashta.
I don't.
The Lashta just messaged me via one of the kids at the house. She says, "Is there a lot of people on the bridge? Is it a heavy commute?"
Well, you've already passed over the bridge, so you're
Oh,
probably,
okay.
I would say that you're on the other side of the bridge right now. You're pretty much right there where, because they just had to kind of put a temporary bridge over a portion of this larger bridge. You're probably still in the larger bridge, yes, the actual bridge that went from the Slaughter Glade over to the city that had the mesas on either side. So for those of you who don't remember, and for those watching, on either side of this huge stone bridge, there are these kind of green mazes that look like that they've been just kind of it looks almost like someone had this huge green maze made out of shrubbery and greenery, and they just kind of cut through it to make this stone bridge. So that's on either side of you. And then on the other side of the bridge, that's where you kind of can either go straight to the Slaughter Glade or make that left and go down to the portal into Zelfir. So yes, so you're on the larger bridge.
Okay. So we'll look around and make sure there's no people listening to the bugbear on a lizard that we don't want to. That was Lashta. She says that she has more information that could help us on our mission, and she asked if she should come to Dimglimt. Um, I mean, you heard me respond. I mean, I think any help we can get from allies would be the best course of action. I don't know how she plans on getting here, whether it's through the portal, but I told her that we were leaving the altar, so hopefully she'll make contact again somehow. Or I guess Kizil, you can.
Suddenly, you hear Lasha's voice in your head again, Gerbil. Hey, sorry. Was reached out to by, and there's a slight pause here, an old friend to possibly join library. Turned down, but could reach out again. And it's kind of a question.
Would probably be best to remain cautious for now. We'll update you soon. Thank you for your.
Thank you for your service. Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
What's that's the she just messaged me again. She said that she was reached out to by an old friend about looks around again about she received a similar offer that we also just received in the process of following up. I told her to remain cautious for now, and we'll get her more information. She turned it down, but she said she could reach back out. So
Well, that's interesting. They're
they're
asking a lot of
recruiting.
people.
Yeah, we also, I mean, we don't know for sure, but if the whole thing with that kid from Ren's village and the whole Jocelyn thing, but it's disconcerting a little bit.
Where was she? Is she? Junie's just like trying to get comfortable on her writing lizard, but I mean, she's not here in Dimblimt.
Oh, no, she was last week. We saw her, and where we met her was in Relesk. And she was helping out at it wasn't an orphanage, was it? It was.
I mean,
a
I called it a charity house, but I mean,
charity
basically
house.
it was, you know, but it was very hidden.
Yeah. She was it charity house that took us in and helped us, and yeah, and we realized afterwards that she has a lot more power and influence than we originally realized around Husbergen.
Okay. But we're not sure. I mean, can you trust her? You all have so many friends. I don't know how you keep track. If she was approached by this library, do they think that just seems strange to get so many invitations all at once? I mean, they must know something, or they know we're on our way.
Well, I mean, they invited us. So.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, I think you're right about the timing of it all, especially with it also coinciding with us receiving our package from our friend here, Gerbil. Pat Zavar on the shoulder. So, which, you know, it's still a mystery on how we even got that, technically. So, I don't know. But personally, I'm willing to risk the help of Lashta.
It really seems like we can use all the help we can get at this point. We're a pretty small ship.
And probably more importantly, she also said she had more information, which I think any information would probably be good at this point.
I think it's our biggest problem. We don't have enough. Well, if you trust her, then I mean, so do we, right?
I absolutely trust her. I think we should get as much information from her as she's willing to give us. She's been around this stuff much longer than I have, than we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully she gives you another message. Maybe she can tell us more. Does this work? Is it tomorrow? Maybe she could contact you later. I don't know how the magic works.
She was messaging us through one of the kids at the charity house. A lot of the kids in the charity house were kind of hiding. It was Burlesque was a weird place.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the kids had gifted abilities in the Arcana and magic. So that I think that limits to what she'd want, you know, to tell us. But I can message her again with a sending stone tomorrow, or if we need to, I think Kazeel might still have some uses of sending still spell slots. I don't know. Burn all the spell slots.
All of them. Okay.
Bards don't need them.
Oh, well, this route of the city is getting a little cramped. Although maybe it's still cramped for you too. But my lizard's pretty nice. She's kind of like lean back in her saddle.
Everyone, everyone, handling the lizards, guiding them. Make a animal handling check, please.
Did Brenarius get a lizard?
I'm on my phantom steed.
Yeah, Rainier's on his steed as well as Kazeel is on his fox.
Fox.
So
Dirty 20.
dirty 20.
Wow.
Since can I assist
That'd be great.
Zavar? Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Can I,
Yeah.
Since
I'm pretty sure I just fell
So-
out of my saddle. I got a
so-
6.
Okay.
guess treat that as an advantage, Zavar.
Yes. So roll an animal handling check with advantage.
Renarius's phantom steed looks an awfully like a riding lizard.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, I didn't even start the
12.
music. And I had music all. Oof. Oh, that's loud. Okay. 12. Okay. All right. Chat, just let me know if the music's too loud. Tegan, your riding goes smooth. You're good to go. Zavar, you're having just a little bit of trouble. It's a little more cumbersome having two of you on the lizard's back, it seems, than just one.
Oh, you pulled this rein, not that. No, the
Well,
other one.
and it seems that
I'm
like
doing it wrong.
as the lizard's moving, like it's just kind of like the way that its shoulders on both the front legs and the back legs kind of like move up and down. It kind of like pushes y'all around a bit and makes it a little bit hard to balance. But you're able to kind of stay on top. Juniper, you're having some trouble. This riding lizard seemed like that it was going to be a lot more easier to navigate than what it's proving to be. You just weren't prepared for the balancing that you'd have to do, and and so there is a couple of times where you kind of have to stop the lizard and try to get your footing. Juniper's kind of falling behind a little bit to everyone.
Come on, lizard. Oh, this way. And no, not that. God. To just going across and then back.
Lizard like wiggles its butt a bit.
I got a sassy one. This is I want a refund. Oh.
Kazeel will kind of like bring the fox up near you and do you need some help, Juniper? Are you doing okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, easy there.
I'll get it. I'll figure this out. Yeah.
He just kind of like prances along on his fox.
Yeah. Somehow that makes it worse to see everyone just gliding along. Listen, if this was a boat,
Well,
I'd
you
be just fine.
You do notice that Zavar and Gerbil are having a little bit of trouble, just kind of balancing the. Yeah.
No.
It's okay.
I'm having trouble too. You'll get it. It'll make sense. I mean, we'll get into a rhythm. Even Dribble gave me a pointer a minute ago. These animals will do fine.
Gerbil's so tempted with his long bugbear limbs just to
Sure.
reach around and take the ring, but no, he's not.
Sure.
I mean, that would turn into an interesting wraparound
We don't
situation.
have the relationship yet to do the scene from Ghost.
No.
If those arms end up around my midsection, I might.
It is a pommel, not a
Like,
pottery.
I mean,
Okay.
bugbears do have like a reach of 10 feet.
Let's-
Isn't that our
let's
range?
not.
Oh
I
man!
think so.
Yeah, 10 feet
mhm.
reach. Like,
Next time that I'm not doing too well, all of a sudden I just see this arm go rump. Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
ugh.
So
we were-
who is who's leading the pack here?
Not me.
Where's Polo? Who's Polo riding with?
I will say Polo's with Juniper.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll be up front.
Okay.
Tegan will go up
All right.
because
So Tegan, you're navigating. So I guess question is, Tegan, because you're kind of getting to the spot where like you're either going to be going straight and kind of like to the northeast a bit to go directly towards the shore of Rakoth, or to make that right to go towards the mountains to the right of the altar.
I'll sort of slow up and wait for everybody to catch up and
Takes
relay
about
that.
5 minutes for Juniper to get there.
Tegan will take a sip on his.
She's ready to
Big
hand her reins to
big
someone
gulp.
else.
Yeah.
Just say, lead this lizard. Where do we
So
look at a map?
I'll ask Zavar to kind of like pull up next to Tegan's, and Gerbil kind of like pull out the map and lean over and be like, oh,
While you've been
okay."
riding the lizard gerbil, Garnet, not Garnet. What would you?
Tulip.
Got up onto your shoulder and seems to be doing pretty well. Seems to be excited.
So I'll point to where we are on the map,
Okay.
and then if we still want to take a little bit of extra time to check out those mountains and Polo's door, then we go that way, or we can keep going and have more adventures in the Slaughter Glade. But there's also, we don't know how big these rifts are that we saw when we flew over, and their magic carpets. So
Well, do we want to proceed and check out this door, Paulo? This is the way, right? To the door is to the right. East?
I've only heard of it. I've never been here. I said
Oh.
that before.
But yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
So guess as good as mine.
How do they invite us exactly? Is there a certain time we have to be there? Is there a signal?
No, it was wide
We
open. They're
we
just
just-
good.
they
They're
just said to.
I'm sure they will scout us out, scout the area out, and they'll see us coming.
Hmm. But does taking our time seem like the best impression we want to make?
I
There
mean,
was
I feel like a depression has already been made a while ago.
Well, we could throw them off by going there as soon as possible. They'd never expect that. They'd never expect it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we know, like I said earlier, we know this area in these triangles that they're on the map. I have, I believe, because that's the one I took from column. We know these places of power. Is that what they were called? Anyways, these places. Sorry. These places have something to do with the library, and they coordinate with areas in Osbergen. Like Fairweather is one of those points in Osbergen. Which the mountain point isn't the one that correlates with Fairweather, is it? I haven't seen an Osbergen map in a while.
The what?
Where is Fairweather on the Osbergen map? Is that the one that correlates with the mountains that we're going to?
Let me see here. I don't think so. Top of that one. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So, I don't expect us to really stay there and do so much of a, exploration into it. Just at least get a glimpse. Maybe we can see something that will help give us an idea of what it is. I don't know. We don't really know if there's any new rifts in this area though, along the mountains. But we do know there's some big rifts in the Slaughter Glade, and we also know in the Slaughter Glade there's those big, weird magic ghosts and giants, and it's very hot, and Polo's vampire winged lady might be there. I don't know.
Oh, hope so.
That seems like more reason to go, really. Polo, you've heard about this door, but is it more like a? I mean, could it be like a portal in the altar?
I've heard it's a big door.
Big door. I mean, it doesn't take
Real
us to the
big
library.
I mean, we're not going to the library. Anyway, we're meeting outside. This is where they want us to meet. I think
Maybe
if we,
inside is a whole village of vampires. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. But I
Yeah.
doubt it, because that seems a little too on the nose. You know what I mean?
I don't think they'd put a door out where you could just.
Yeah,
open
I
it
don't
and
think
let
they'd
the
put a
sun
door
in.
out either. You're right.
Yeah.
but
Keegan,
I'm not
Narius, anybody? Turbo.
I'm just saying that's another path we could take, and also just at least try to get some intel as we pass by. Hopefully, maybe, but
Keegan will reach into his purse, pull out a gold piece, and flip it.
Oh boy.
also the Slaughter Grade is very hot.
Yeah. We're going. Let's
And-
go. And he starts his slizzard off towards the east.
Okay. All right. So, y'all start off on your journey into the east. Seeing the Slaughter Glade that's just north of you, you would almost kind of, well, actually, no. Actually, that's not the way it works. It looks like just continuous rolling, like, green pastures ahead of you going north. So it's kind of hard to tell where the Slaughter Glade begins. But, so you kind of branch off to the east. There's not not necessarily a road that leads this way, but you do notice that where some little patches of forest kind of start, it kind of has an opening in the forest that kind of leads directly almost in the path that you're going. And you do see these like huge mountains kind of rise up in the pretty near distance. If anyone's sufficient in survival, make a survival check.
Purple is. I remembered it this time. Oh, bad time. I rolled a 7, but I get a +6 for
Nice.
13.
I'm
Okay.
at 15.
I would say, oh, you got a 15, Juniper? Juniper, you would, Gerbil, it's kind of a little iffy to tell. You can't, can't really tell like how far you have until you reach the mountains in the distance. Juniper, you're guessing about probably 3/4 of a day, probably.
Okay. I will let everyone else know that's where we're at.
Okay. All right. So, you are start off on your way. Gerbil, I keep wanting to say Lily. It's another flower
Tulip.
name. Tulip.
Mhm.
Is still on your shoulder and seeming kind of excited.
I haven't seen you this peppy in a while. But I guess it's been a while since we've been out in the open. Right. Yeah.
Um,
I guess you don't find hotels in cities as exciting as. Well, I don't find them exciting, but. So,
just
I
kind of
think we're
sits
going the
there.
right way.
You feel a little bit something on the in your back, Turbo. It's pooped.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
I got very excited.
Let it
flow.
let it out. Let it out. Good.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
No,
okay.
Zavar. Zavar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Zavar. You're right behind. You kind of,
I'm in front.
then you get
Front.
this little. Oh, you're in the front. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
yeah.
I would say the
But-
wind kind of pushes it back a little bit. So Juniper,
Okay.
since you're kind of in the back, you've
Like
been having
these
some trouble.
lizards.
Ah.
Like these lizards smell delightful, anyways.
God.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can smell wonderful.
Nice
You
bouquet.
don't know.
Is it? We've gotten out in the heat, and now Gerbil is just like fuming. What is this?
Fuming.
I mean, he would have wiped it off as best he could. But
It smells like the salty sea air back
Like-
here. It's fine. It's fine.
like your little squirrel doesn't dump everywhere.
I'll have you know, Blackberry has perfect hygiene. We have a bag of holding for that.
Oh my gosh. A little squirrel bag of holding. Oh my gosh.
Tied around its bottom.
Juniper,
Oh,
are you
gosh.
sure your hair doesn't look like Radagast?
Ooh.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's nasty.
Oh my god.
Who has the box again? The gold box.
Zavar.
Would be
I
Zavar.
still do. Yeah.
Zavar, how is your pack when you're riding? Is it still kind of around you, or did you? I would say that there's probably things to fasten it to the saddle.
No, actually, I probably would have put it.
Like in front of me, because I wouldn't put it behind me to didn't like get in the way of Gerbil. But I'd probably hold it in front of me in case.
Hold it in front of you. Okay. all right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
About let's see, about halfway through the day. So you're about probably like sun is a little bit past noon. In the sky. You start to see up ahead. Again, you have this kind of clearing in between the trees. The forests surrounding you kind of start to kind of peter out a bit, and then up ahead, you start to see this. It looks like maybe to your right, like a village that you're fast approaching. So then these lizards move pretty fast, like twice the speed of a horse.
Not on any map though. We don't. Gerbil,
I
your
mean-
fancy map doesn't have a city on there.
No, our
It's
the map is very generic.
It's a very small village.
See, that's not
you
on the
can
map.
tell.
Small village.
Yeah.
Stop in, ask, get a bite.
Okay. All right. As the group of you kind of slow down,
It's a murder village.
and pull over to the right. What are you doing with your lizards? Just kind of, are you staying on them or guiding them with you? Are you walking in or riding in?
I would walk. Oh, yeah, walk in.
Okay. All right. Just, are you taking the lizard with you?
Yeah, looking.
Okay.
As I walk in, leading the
Okay.
group, looking for
Uh,
a stable or some place to hitch.
Everyone make
The lizards.
perception checks for me, please.
Evan.
9.
Oh,
18.
25.
Nice.
All right.
I'm using good dice today.
Has you anyone with a 13 or it's about 12 or above? You would see a as you're entering this town, this village. It's very small. You can tell that, and as you walk closer to it, you can definitely tell that there's more greenery in this village than what is normal. It's very quiet. You don't hear anything. Well, actually, for those with a 12 or above, you do hear kind of a distant noise, like a distant something almost being like someone banging into something, like hitting wood, or and then you'll hear this kind of like occasional like mirthful laughter that sounds almost childish. But the buildings are definitely taken over by nature. This village looks abandoned. But you do hear the kind of continuous, this kind of like little sparks of laughter here and there that sounds childlike, and then this kind of like rocking sound.
Let's maybe slow down a bit, Tegan. Hey, Kazio, why don't you
yeah?
pop out,
Oh, right. You'll pull out the spyglass and look around. I'm not seeing any spirits. Not really seeing anything except what we're seeing, with our own eyes. I kind of put it away.
How far off is the noise?
It sounds cool. What was your perception check, Tegan?
Not good. A 9.
Okay. You can't tell.
But I can't tell direction, right?
You can tell direction, I would say, especially with your background. You can tell that it's coming a little bit deeper into the village. You look around, you don't see anything, but so it could be like behind one of the houses.
All right, I'll hand the. I think we said we were walking in with the.
Yeah, Gerbil would have dismounted.
All right, I will hand the reins to my lizard to Gerbil if he's off, I guess, or anybody who's happened to be standing next to my lizard.
Yeah, since Gerbil's lizard free, he'll
tell everybody to wait here for a minute, and I will flip up the hood of my cloak.
Okay.
Become invisible.
Okay.
And walk towards the noise carefully.
I forgot
Okay.
you could do that. Is that
All
a new?
Yep.
Hood? Okay, I was like, whoa.
As you kind of walk deeper into town, Tegan, and it said it's all quiet except for this sound and this kind of like little sparks of laughter here and there. As you go past a couple buildings, and as you're kind of getting closer to these, you can definitely see that this place looks like it's been abandoned for a while. You walk past one and kind of look to your left in between a couple of the buildings, and you see this kind of you see an outhouse being tipped a bit, kind of like, and it keeps like hitting the side of one of the buildings, and these three kids, probably around 12 or so, I would say that they're probably like 2 humans and a dwarf. So of course the dwarf would be a little bit older, but still childlike. And they are trying to kind of push, kind of tip the outhouse. Oh, you almost got it. You almost got it. Here, maybe try and do it this way. And they're trying to help each other and, trying to get someone more heft into it. But none of them are like, old enough or buff enough to really get that much push into it, which even the 3 of them. So, and it keeps hitting the side of this house.
All right, I will see that and then return to the group and take the hood off and relay that to them. It's just 3 juveniles trying to tip over an outhouse.
Hear it kind of echoing through the town, off of the trees.
Stewie, I guess that's the only sign of life here. We should, I guess, walk up on them and
It's
see what they're doing.
Do we,
I'll watch the lizards.
Well, bring them along and then we'll.
we could ride in the lizards and that freak them out.
Maybe. Let's see.
Maybe.
So
I don't
they
know.
should
They
not be
might have seen
surprised.
lizards. Who knows?
Small
Do we
town
need to
kids.
go in this village? It looks pretty abandoned. Did you see anything?
Looks
Keegan?
is exactly as you see, except for those 3 juveniles trying to
So
do some mischief. I don't know if even if somebody's in the outhouse. Who knows?
So, I guess what I'm more asking: are you gonna perform our civil duty and stop these vandals, or are we going in to scare them off so we can loot the place?
I'm not looting an outhouse
Well,
or anything in this
If they
overgrown
I
know
don't
what
town.
think
you're talking about.
anyone. I didn't think that's. I meant,
I'm sorry.
Well,
anyways.
perhaps they will know something if they stick around. Who knows? But it's
Right.
nothing that I can. There doesn't seem to be any pending danger other than odor.
Okay. So we
Yep, he'll take the
Sneaking up?
reins, get on his lizard,
oh,
And
okay.
and start moving towards him.
Okay. All right. Yeah. As the now, is there anyone traveling with you, Tegan, or is the entire group going?
I don't know.
I would follow Tegan.
Okay.
I guess
if it
Gerbil.
wasn't Gerbil
Would like, hey, let's go. So yeah, I'm going.
Okay. Yeah, Gerbil will jump back on the back saddle,
Yeah.
and but he'll also just to like look menacing, pull out his bow, just have it
Okay.
like locked and loaded.
All right. Are y'all trying to be stealthy or just walking into town towards the kids where you hear the
Can we
sound?
be stealthy with giant lizards?
I mean, you could try.
No, I'm just gonna.
Okay.
As soon as I
right.
get within eye contact of them, I'm just gonna yell out to them, "Good day for a tipping."
Yeah, you get to where the kind of like in between those two houses, and you kind of start going down there, and yeah, the kids. You'll notice like one of them sees you and will kind of like nudge the other two, and they'll just immediately stop. Hi, hey. They're just
What you up to?
standing there with like their hands behind their back. Nothing, just hanging out. You know, having fun.
Anybody in there? Or you're just looking to make a mess.
I don't know what you mean.
Uh,
We're just here, just having a good time.
Yeah, good time tipping over an outhouse. So I don't care either way. But do you live in this village?
No, we came from. Why should we tell you where we're from?
Why not?
Yeah, and what the other kids be like? Because you might follow us.
So, are you from a secret village that you can't tell me about?
No, it's stranger danger.
Oh, there was danger. Would have happened already.
Well, I think that we need to go. Right, guys? Yeah.
Hey, we're just
Gotta get home.
passing through. We're wondering about this village. Why is it empty?
It's been empty for a long time.
Who was here? Do you know?
Do you know?
No, that's why I'm asking.
Do I look like that I know about a village that's this old and this, stupid?
Well, you know about it, so you know it's here, so you must know something about it.
No, I know it's here. That's it. I don't know anything else.
You want to make some money?
Sure, we all do.
How about we're kind of hungry. We've been traveling all day. We're looking for a bite to eat. From where you're at, your village, do they have a place to get food and rest maybe?
Okay. two of them seem very skeptical of answering you. The little dwarf kid, well, of course the altar has stuff to go to. Oh, God.
Oh, you're from the altar.
It's,
Nothing wrong with that.
Giles.
How did you walk all the way out here
it's
from
quite
the
a
altar?
walk.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you know.
Did you know that a new rift just came up? And
Bridge was out for a bit.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't you have family that you should be worried about? They're probably worried about you.
No, not really.
No
There's-
family.
No. We're with the orphanage in the altar.
Well, they have to know where you're at, don't they?
No, maybe they don't need to know. Maybe we're not returning.
And where are you going?
I don't know. Hanging out here for a bit.
Being
Maybe
on your own is
Not a safe thing to do.
maybe we'll go south, you know?
Why south? What's south of the altar?
People tell us not to go there, so why wouldn't we go?
Well,
It'd
they-
be fun.
That also could be dangerous.
And one kid spits on the ground. Not dangerous
You do-
for us.
You do know what they call it down south, right?
The south?
Oh, they call it the furnace and the Shadow Hollow.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
That's why we're going
know-
there. Tough.
You know why they're called that?
Yeah. Vampires, monsters.
Mm.
Oh,
Polo will like immediately like jump
Yeah.
off the lizard and be like, "You say vampires?
oh God.
Hey,
See,
That's-
Polo here knows a lot about vampires.
yeah." Well, kids will speak up. Well, we're still going there. You can't scare us into not going. We're not scared of nothing. Yeah, nothing.
I mean, dangerous things don't care if you're scared or not. They're still dangerous.
Huh. Do you we all have shh, don't say it. We're not scared of nothing, as we said. Including y'all.
Well, what's the scariest thing you've seen? Obviously, you've been adventuring around here. We could use your help in knowing what's around that we should be concerned about.
There's nothing scary around here. Other than, you know, what they keep hidden in the mountain. Who knows what that is?
Oh, the door.
Yeah.
You know about the door?
Yeah, we've seen it. You can see it just wherever. It's just not too far from here. It's just a couple of hours walk.
And you never opened the door?
No. No one's opened the door.
It's
That's Strapping young lads like yourself would have opened that door if you tried.
Now that, well, we have tried. Everyone's tried around here. Can't do it.
Hmm.
I don't think y'all can do it either.
Well, we might just.
No harm in trying, right? Everyone's tried it.
So is it just forest between here and this mystical door?
Yeah. Yeah, you got some griffins up there in the mountain. They're nice, but they very secluded. They won't let us pet them.
Well, I'm sure, you know, it's their territory. That's
Well, we don't want to pet them anyways.
Oh,
really?
that's a shame. And Gerbil kind of like lead out further.
one of them, the little dwarf kid, will be like, "Oh, yes, guys, you don't care." But I wanna try. I wanna. No, it's fine. So where y'all going?
I'll have like Tulip like in my hand, just like petting her, like.
You'll see the dwarf kid just like staring at you, Gerbil, just like.
Well, now we're gonna go open a door. Or try to.
You can't get the door open. It has magic.
Maybe we'll just stay here and tip over an outhouse.
I
Maybe we'll put
mean,
3 kids in the outhouse and then tip it over.
That seems rude.
I think you're tough stuff. Huh, Horns?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Not afraid of no kids. But you should be afraid of this place. Haven't you seen this town? You don't know what's hiding in those buildings.
Oh, we've been in all these buildings.
Well, what's in there then?
Nothing now. And they'll just
did
kind
you-
of giggle.
Mm-hmm. Did
So
you-
there was something.
Mm-hmm. So 3 little thieves then, huh?
Nah, just a piece of gold here and some other stuff there. Nothing much. People took everything with them when they left, and plus it's been here for so long. I don't think they even... I don't think they even use the currency. I don't think it's even the same money.
Well, and that's not much use, is it?
No.
How
Well,
about I make you a trade? I'll give you some real money for your old, useless money.
oh, it's back at the orphanage. We don't have it on us.
Oh,
If you find us in the
not
altar
very
at the
fun.
orphanage, we can do it then. But I don't have any right now. We got all that stuff a long time ago, like last week. Well, we better be going. You know, places to go, places to see. Been a real kind of kicks a rock. Been a real, fun time talking to you guys. Yeah, it's been a real fun time. They start walking towards you. Kind of like go along the like a little bit closer to the building as they try to go around you.
I'll toss each of them 5 silver.
ah, my hand.
Two of them, one of them misses the silver as you toss it to them. You're scrambling, little dwarf kid, poor thing. The other 2 will just kind of look at it and look at you, Tegan, and... You're not paying us for anything, right?
Nope. Just get yourself something nice at the altar and don't wander too far. There's a lot of craziness with these rifts opening up. You don't want to be caught unawares.
Yeah, especially with that brutal murder that happened.
What murder?
Oh, you did hear?
What do you mean?
That new library. Terrible, terrible thing. Librarian was found brutally murdered. The whole town was talking about it this morning.
The Furbolg.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Aw.
Did you know her?
Well, yeah. She was nice. Who murdered her? Who did it?
Nobody knows. Only word is a shady character running around.
Huh. We should stop. We should go back and just kind of check it out. It's okay, alright.
You
Well,
haven't seen any shady characters in the altar, have you?
I mean, there's a lot of people in the altar, and we mostly stay. Well, I mean, we'll be out. You know, we stay a lot underneath. So, no. I mean, nothing that stood out. I don't guess. Where's that weird like her? Points to you, Juniper. That came up to us. Remember? Yesterday and was asking about stuff. She was kind of weird. Yeah, but I don't think she was shady. I think she was just, I don't know, had a lot of coffee.
Was she holding a coffee cup? And
Yeah, had horns, long hair.
was she wearing a hat?
Yes.
Like, you know.
Is that the shady character you mean?
No.
Oh.
No, she's
Oh,
not
okay.
shady.
Okay.
She's just she's but
She's looking for 3 mice if you run into her again, and if you know anything about some mice missing.
Did you talk to the cats?
a little. But they don't seem to like us very much. They weren't very helpful. In fact, some of them were thieves just like you.
We're not thieves.
No?
No.
What do you call stealing things from this village and taking it back to the orphanage? What is that?
Lady, these houses are abandoned.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it belongs to you.
Yeah, it doesn't belong to anyone. So we're taking it.
Mm-hmm.
It probably belonged to the vampires.
Yeah.
Right, Polo?
Yeah, maybe. And if it belonged to them, they'd be able to track you from the items. So I'd be careful if I were you.
Yeah, and you let them straight back to your orphanage.
Think of that, Mr. The little dwarf. We gotta go. We'll start just kind of running by everyone, and the other two will be like, look to you, Tegan. Thanks for the silver again. And both of them will just kind of run off after the other. Hey, wait up!
Gerbils still prominently.
Tulip is very happy. If a griffin purred, it would be purring. But I don't think they do.
Well, I hope that's the worst we run into today.
Oh.
Can we
Do we believe them? Do we want to check out the place anyways?
should check out the outhouse at least.
Wait, I thought you said you didn't. Did
Well,
you expressly say you're
I'm
not?
not touching it, no, but I want to make sure no one's dead in there. I mean, someone else can touch it. I'm not. No.
Gerbil will get down and go over to the outhouse and.
Okay. Yeah, as you
Okay.
walk over to the outhouse, it's a different kind of smell. I mean, it's not like it doesn't smell like a normal outhouse, but it smells like, like kind of the lingering scent of like decaying poop. And as you open the door, it only gets worse.
Nope. No dead bodies. I don't think.
But you will
Ugh.
see some like writing on the inside of the outhouse and on the outside, like done in rock. Like
For a
Here.
good time.
Yep.
Write
Yeah.
this rune.
but it says on there, Giles, Winnie, and Erelm were here.
What was that? Giles.
Giles, Winnie, and Erelm were here.
Well,
Tell
that
me
was exciting.
you don't know them too, do you?
I mean, my first guess would be those are the 3 kids that just left.
So we
But
do
I
know
don't
them.
know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
At least it
Gross.
didn't say Geneva, right? Or
Right.
no, Geraldine. At least it didn't say Geraldine. So
Geraldine. Okay. Well, we're not sleeping here, though,
Well,
right?
let's move on. A couple hours to the door, according to the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a couple hours on foot, so
Well, that's what
if
they
I can
said.
get my lizard to cooperate, come on.
All right. Juniper, go and make a fresh animal handling check for me.
All right. I'm gonna. I should use my actual dice. We'll just do this one. Awesome. I got a 6 again. I have learned
Yeah,
nothing.
you are still having a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
She is really cranky about all of this.
You're able to like mount the lizard, but it just kind of, you know, it wants to kind of, it gets distracted. Sometimes you're having, you know, you're getting a little bit easier like balancing on it, but
I'm gonna
it's
be
just not
so
cooperating very well.
bruised. God damn it.
It takes you about let's see here. A little bit more than a couple of hours to get there, probably like 3 or 4. Yeah, as you get, you know, you start approaching this like huge mountainside. And after you had left the village, like the forest kind of started picking up again. The path that kind of led, that was kind of guiding you before is now gone. Seemed to have led to the village. So now it's mostly trees that you're maneuvering through, but the lizards don't seem to have a problem. And as you approach the mountain, the trees, you know, are a little bit more, it's not a dense forest, so they're kind of dispersed out a bit. So you can see the mountain as you're approaching it. And, but as you get closer, you start to notice some of the trees have fallen over. And at the base of this mountain are, you know, you see kind of like this, like, carved, you know, like this path that's been carved deeper into the mountain. But outside that, at the base of like the normal mountain, you notice that not only have the trees fallen over, but there are almost like little tiny cracks along the base of the mountain. Grass has kind of burned away from those areas. The rocks look a little singed. Yeah. And also, make a perception check, everyone.
uh, 16 for Dribble.
Okay.
26.
14.
Did you roll a perception check, Juniper?
Yeah, it was 24.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So anyone with a 15 or above, you would notice that as you kind of look up, not only does this, you know, this mountainside also has this almost glimmer to it. You can't really tell what it is from down here because it's a pretty tall mountain and a mountain range, I mean. But also going up into the mountain, you'll see these kind of masses that have kind of perched on top of the mountain and a few like little pieces that are jutting out. What was your role, Gerbil?
16.
Okay. Gerbil, this looks familiar to you, and probably for the rest of you, especially the ones who were at, Lisa Deer, and saw the griffins there, that you would recognize these as griffins. They're pretty high above. But I would say if anyone got like a 20 or above perception during your roll, you would notice that like a couple of them do seem to kind of keep an eye on you.
I'll point out the griffins to everyone that they're sort of like circling and observing us.
Yeah. Not much so much circling, but just kind of perching there, just kind of keeping an eye.
How's Tulip doing?
Tulip is. Whereas Tulip was excited getting here, it seems a little timid now. And kind of hiding behind your head a bit, Gerbil.
We'll get a little buddy.
So what's before us? I mean,
Other than the griffins, the mountain, and the kind of like cracks, they're kind of going into the mountain's base, where the grass and stuff is scorched. You see the kind of carving into the mountain, and about 20 feet into this like huge carved in area is this gigantic set of doors. And let me see here. Let me just where'd I put the picture that I can look at to describe it. Anyways, yeah, so this giant set of doors stand before you. Going up about probably like 50 feet. Maybe 60. Very squarish. And with this kind of like, not really writing on them, but this kind of interesting designs kind of carved into it. Yeah. Doors are closed, of course.
Far from the doors are we right now?
What was that, Zavar?
How far from the doors are we right now?
Well, I mean, unless you started walking into that little carved-in area about 20 feet from them.
Well,
big doors to accommodate a big creature.
Do we want to get closer, or
That's the door.
Door. We should go take a look.
That's it.
Taking notes, Polo?
Yeah. Kind of working in their journal. Dragging it along with them as they walk. All right, so people are approaching the doors.
since this was Gerbil's idea, he'll, I guess, kind of get in front
Okay.
and always being wary of how Tulip's reacting.
Okay.
'Cause
Tulip is pretty much almost hiding under your shirt.
that's disconcerting. Okay. Gerbil will like, is Gerbil the only one? And he's like, because it's fine if everyone's watching to see what Gerbil.
Is anyone following behind Gerbil?
No, in fact, it looks like Shuni's turned her lizard around, but you don't know if that's
You're just getting
her
ready.
doing or yeah. She's
Juniper's still struggling at the entrance.
lizard just going in a circle now.
Tegan will follow, but he'll do the math in his head of how big those doors would swing open
Okay.
and stay out of range of the doors, like suddenly opening and
Okay. What about you, Safar?
I'll probably stick with Tegan.
Okay.
We need someone to watch the lizards too. So
Okay.
that's okay.
Aramis will hang back.
What? I thought Pedarius would be
Okay.
gun ho. No.
All right.
Yeah. He's squishy.
Okay. So
Gerbil,
yeah, you approach.
Be
Oops, sorry.
careful.
Gerbil will, as he gets closer, the more cautious and slow he'll
Okay.
actually, before he gets too far, he's gonna. Kazil, check the door.
Oh, right. And he'll bring out the telescope and just kind of look. I don't see any spirits, surprisingly.
Let me know if anything comes out of the door if I get close.
I'll keep an eye on it, Gerbil.
Gerbil will. Okay.
Okay.
He'll start going closer, and then he'll kind of comfort Tulip.
Okay. Yeah, Tulip
Yes.
is just kind of like chilling out, just kind of hunkered in. All right. So you get closer and closer to the doors. You going up to like touching them, or you want to touch the door?
First he'll like get up and he'll like just kind of like get a closer look at like the design of the door. If there's any runes, any writing that says
Yeah,
"Speak friend" and enter.
The design,
You know?
the design. Make an intelligence check for me, Gerbil.
Ooh, we know how good Gerbil is at those. Oh, that is a 7.
Okay. All right. It's hard to tell like if this is supposed to be writing or if it's just designs at this point. A little hard to decipher.
Am I feeling like any magic? Anything like, is my hair raising up as like I get closer?
Would you like to make an
I don't
Arcana
know.
check?
Sure, why not? I'm as good at Arcana as I am with intelligence. Ooh, that's a 5.
Okay. Can't tell.
I'll touch the door.
It feels like stone. Very rough stone. And since you're right there at it, you would also be able to see some like tiny little like sparkles in the stone too, kind of like what the mountain had on it. And it seems to be, I would say, standing this close, you can kind of tell that it seems to be kind of like these kind of luminescent crystals that are kind of embedded into the rock here and there, just small little tiny ones.
Gerbil's totally fine with crystals after everything he's Okay. They'll put both hands on the door, you know.
Okay.
But then, after a while, we'll just give it a push. Just
Doesn't budge.
we'll kind of take a step back again. Is there kind of some kind of like not a doorknob, but like some
Like a
like
handle
little
or like
trap
a something
handle
to...
or
Mhm.
or tripwire
Not
or
that you
something?
can tell. Not at this height, at least.
Okay. How tall did you say it was again?
About 50 feet.
50 feet.
50 to 60. Yeah.
He'll start just feeling around the stone, just double checking there's not like any catches in the carving and
Make an
anything.
investigation check for me, please.
Oh, hey, that's pretty good. 16.
Yeah, you check around for some little like, carving into the stone to kind of get in, like a secret knob or secret handle or whatever. don't find anything.
Yep.
Other than the grooves of the text slash, pictographs, you can't really tell what they are. Nothing else. Seems pretty solid.
And the grooves of the carving and everything, there's not like I can't scale it, can't climb it, any get a little higher, can I?
I mean, you can try. I mean, the carvings in aren't very, like, maybe about 1.5 inches. There's probably not really anywhere to really get, like, a good foothold in even.
Okay.
There's no like I didn't quite. There's no handles, right? There's
Right.
nothing to pull
No.
on.
Well, she said not at this height. So,
Right. So
Well, you
What
can't.
about
Well, I mean,
on
I
the-
say that like you can't really
Yeah.
tell from like
yeah. So, on the how narrow is the passage to the door? Is it like a crevice kind of thing, or like are there walls beside the door?
It's about as wide as the door, and the door is probably about probably like 45 feet in width. Like it's
Okay.
2 doors. Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's
Double
pretty
door.
much
Okay.
50-foot square. Yeah. Tegan's going to take out a dagger and see if he can pass it under the door. If there's enough room under the door,
Oh no.
it's flush with the
It's
ground.
not flush. I mean, but your dagger, without getting it stuck.
Probably thick. If it's 50.
Tegan's trying to see if a spider will fit under the door.
A spider, sure, depending on the size.
All right, Tegan, he's going to go for it. He's going to use wild shape into a spider, a tiny spider.
Is that a wild
Take
shape
advantage.
form?
It's a
I
CR.
mean-
It's a CR 0, and I can do anything up to CR
Okay.
1/2.
All right.
Yeah.
It is a tiny beast.
Okay.
And I'm sure he's seen a spider.
Okay. So you
Swished.
so let's give me one. So okay, so this is what we'll do is y'all see Tegan suddenly transform into this kind of just shrink almost into nothing. You can barely kind of even tell he's there. Like pretty much he's almost like gone. And
Okay. Oh,
everyone except for Tegan make a perception check for me really quick.
Oh, well, I just unwild shape if you crush
What?
me.
Oh no, not to crush you. No,
Yeah.
just to see if they
Spider.
can see a spider.
oh gosh. Instant. That would be so sad.
8.
16.
Oh gosh. That rolled
Oh, so
Uh,
gross.
13.
15.
Okay. Anyone with a 12 or above would be able would. I mean, at first you're a little confused that like suddenly Tegan's gone. But then you see this kind of small little spider on the floor, right where Tegan was standing.
Oh.
And that's where we'll take our bio break. So for those watching, we take a 10-minute bio break. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
The door.
Spider.
here we are. All right, so we ended. I was going to say we ended the session. We went to bio break with Tegan turning into a spider. A few of you noticed the spider in Tegan's place. So Tegan, do you crawl under the door?
Yep, very stealthily.
Okay. All right.
And I will, see, and I have the spider. A spider has a dark vision of 30.
Of 30 feet?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. So Tegan, you crawl in under this door, and you come out into this, and the door is pretty thick. Gerbil was right. You get out on the other side, and you look around, and it's this huge cavern. That looks like it's been like carved out. It doesn't seem natural. Well, and I say huge, like it's not, to a spider it'd be huge, especially. But this large room that's been carved into this mountain, and in the let me just find my notes here. In the center of the room of this cavern, we'll say this. Well, yeah, in the center there is a large crystal that's kind of like embedded into the center of this room and kind of sticking up about probably about a couple of feet, maybe about 2.5. And it seems to kind of refract all these different colors in this crystal. Like it seems almost diamond-like, but you can see through it. And then on the other side of the crystal, on the other side of this room, is this kind of opening that looks like it goes out into like a ledge. You also notice that the crystal has these kind of chains embedded into the floor, leading out from it in several directions. And as you follow one of these chains, you see that it leads to another door on the wall. And as you look around, there are small little doors all around this kind of like circular room that's carved into the stone.
So,
Make a make an intelligence check for me, Tegan.
okay. Checks. Intelligence.
You would also notice hanging candle holders fastened to these almost like wooden beams that have been placed in the ceiling of this large circular room.
14.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So what was the last thing I saw?
These kind of like hanging candle holders. These metal candle holders that are kind of fastened to these wooden beams that are suspended in the ceiling of this large room.
So
this crystal's in the middle. It has chains kind of embedded in the floor leading out from it in several directions. And each chain leads to one of these closed doors. There's about 8 of them. Maybe about 10. 10 of them in this room around the wall.
So 10 chains and 10 doors?
Yes. Each
And
chain leads to a door.
And how big are those doors?
Those doors are smaller. They're just regular sized doors that you could kind of surmise from a spider's standpoint.
Right.
The crystal in the middle of the room is not glowing or anything. It seems to be dormant. And the doors on the smaller doors on the going around the outskirts of this room are like these like large, regular sized black metal doors. And then you have that little kind of opening in the back of the room too that seems to lead out to a little ledge.
Okay. None of the like the you said there were candles and stuff suspended from the ceiling, but they're not lit. Right?
No, they're not lit.
Yep, that's enough info. He's going to get out.
Okay, all right. So you crawl back out under the doors. You'll see the spider. The rest of you see the spider come out from underneath the door. And do you transform back into Tegan?
Yeah, I'll drop the
Okay.
spider.
All
Yep.
right.
He'll
And
be very embarrassed because he was starting to talk to another spider he saw that he thought was you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
hmm
As I take the bag back from Gerbil, I will relay to everyone what I saw.
Okay.
And I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, doesn't have. There's. I didn't see any foreseeable way of opening that door, but
so trying
there's
to
just a large crystal with chains going to 10 doors, and then
there are two things I'm remembering, and I'm not sure if Jerpa would, but I'm not sure if I'm that room in Cullum's house where he made the soul cage and we trapped
hmm
that he did all that was that room similar to what you just described?
It had the crystal in the middle, but
There was no chains.
there were 4 different chains leading from that one, but they were leading up to like little contraptions on the ceiling.
Contraption.
Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't leading to doors.
Now, the next question was Baron's dungeon. Did that central pillar have chains leading to the doors around the room?
Make an intelligence check.
Oh. Come on. 16.
plus.
Gerbil, as
15 plus 1, so 16.
as teens explain this to you, yeah, it sounds like the dungeon in Bairn where the mages were being kept.
Oh shit. I'll remind that's just like Bairn. It's just like the murder kiln dungeon in Bairn. That explains the power. Okay. Oh,
Tegan will say, but the good news is that crystal was not glowing, right? That crystal didn't show any signs of
No, you're right.
being active.
You're right.
So
Did
it's a room. Tegan will, yeah. It was that crystal didn't look active.
did you
Is everything right over there?
Oh.
I think, Tegan, didn't you say that you explained it to the group? What?
Yes,
Yeah,
as
I
a
think
group.
we-
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Gerbil will relate his discovery
Yeah, I
to the
would've-
group.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Did you-
That is quite troubling.
Did you? Yeah, you didn't crawl under any of the other doors. See if there's anybody in there, right?
no,
You
I did
didn't-
not want to press my luck.
You didn't
Because-
find a pile of people's belongings in a corner being. There wasn't a kiln, right? There wasn't.
I didn't see one. Just
The-
the doors and the crystals and the chains.
There was no way to open the door from what you tried.
I didn't even, to be honest, I assumed that you know, there wouldn't be a, I didn't see anything.
Steph, because Gerbil didn't take the stupid Osbergen map with the triangles, which he now regrets, I'm trying to remember, was Baron one of those points of a triangle? I remember Fairweather was, but was Baron?
Oh, make another intelligence check.
I got really lucky with that 15, I don't think. uh, it's a 3.
Nope, you don't remember.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay. So if we assume each of those places on the map and these triangles are similar contraptions to what we saw in Baron, which was powered a floating city on the lives of mages. That's a lot of
It's obviously used to power something, but what? So I would imagine there's more of these sprinkled across them, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, all the points on the triangle. I mean, they converge at the library, at whatever the name of the Estacia.
Mm-hmm.
Estacia. They all converge there. So I would imagine, if I had to guess, that's where, I don't know. But they also coordinate with places in Osbergen. That's what Cullum said to us. So these points all, even though it's a different plane, they seem to connect locationally. How's that word? I'm freaking out.
Dribble, if you think these are connected to the library, maybe we should hurry and speak to them.
I mean, sure, speak to him, but I don't think we should show our hand. Not that we have anything good in our hand. It's bluffing. Haven't you ever played poker?
Get in our hand.
So the last time you saw a crystal like this, it was glowing. It was powered on.
I mean, technically, was there crystal in the dungeon? There was just the big murder kiln that
You
they
had the
dumped the bodies
crystals.
in.
Yeah, the crystals inside the closets there.
Oh.
And the crystals that were outside of the cafe, the floating, they were red.
You did have crystals on the wall in Baron Dribble. It wasn't like a huge crystal in the middle, but it was like by each room was like a crystal.
It could be for a different purpose, different configuration. Who knows? But this is a huge door. I don't know why the door would need to be this size.
Boom. Makes this place a ghost story, you know? Ooh, the big door. No one can open it, but it's a big door. Ooh.
It's a lot of work to be just intimidating.
I mean,
something worse before, but now it might be dormant. If there were worse things, then maybe this is a good sign.
Bernaris, yeah, go ahead.
Can I cast Detect Magic on the door?
Yes, you can.
Is it giving off anything magical?
It definitely is. I would say that you're able to tell Rhaenyra that it's definitely locked. It's definitely held in place by magic.
I'm going to try something. Just be ready. And I'm going to cast Dispel Magic
Okay.
on the door.
I don't know what that.
Tegan will back
I
up.
don't know what that means by you be afraid. So Gerbil's just gonna have his bow drawn. What?
Okay. All right. All right. Make he was him this bonus level. Okay, using your spellcasting ability, make a check, ability check. Rhaenyra.
Great. I'm gonna use a portent roll,
Okay.
and using my spellcasting ability, that's gonna be a 17.
Yeah. All right. So you kind of hold out your hands to dispel the magic on the door, Rhaenyra, and you feel the magic dispel.
The magic has been dispelled for the time being. Let's see if we can't open this.
Okay. Put the bow.
Okay.
Should we all focus on one door, not both of them at the same time? Gerbil's just gonna push on the door.
Thank you, Raiders. You're the best. So make a strength check, Triple.
If anyone else would like to help me, remember I am a archer fighter, not a strength-based fighter.
I will use the help action.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a good time to give my inspiration?
Yeah, you can give
No.
your inspiration. Yeah.
You can wait till you see what he
Or you
rolls.
can wait
Yeah,
to
wait,
see what he
wait.
rolls.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wait
I'll
till
wait.
I roll. Okay. Strength with advantage because Rhaenyra is helping me.
Yeah.
The wizard's helping with a strength check. Okay. That's a 12. The other one would have been an 11. So.
Okay. All right. Strength check. Are you taking Zavar's inspiration?
What's the inspiration die?
D10.
I mean, if Zavar wants to give it, I'll take it. But if he wants to
Wait.
save it, I won't stop him.
I can't hear you, Mason.
Go for it.
Okay. That's a 6, so 16. Or wait, no. Plus, it was a 12. 18.
Okay. Everyone watches Gerbil struggle a lot. But finally is able to, with like a few minutes, of pushing, like labor, is able to push through and get the door open just a little bit. Just enough for everyone to kind of get in.
Ow.
Door kind of scrapes
Ugh.
against the stone beneath it a bit in certain parts. See some dust kind of roll out.
Okay. Hold on. What level is that? Second level. Before we all go in, I will cast Pass Without a Trace on everyone. Second level.
Ooh.
Everybody has a +10 to stealth checks.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So pass that a trace on everyone. Anyone venturing in first?
Since Gerbil opened the door, he'll check back, nod, and go in.
Okay.
My detect magic should still be up.
Okay. All right. As you
I
walk.
imagined opening the door didn't take more than 10 minutes.
No.
Gerbil, sneaky snake.
Okay. All right. So make your sneaking Gerbil.
Yes.
Make a stealth check for me, please.
This is big, guys. Last time I did a stealth check, I got stabbed. And that was the plot for the next 6 months.
Yep.
Wow. Don't get stabbed.
but I have a plus 10
Mm-hmm.
plus my 7, so I have a plus 17. So I
Nice.
shouldn't be able to fail.
Yep.
Hypothetically.
Here comes
Mhm.
the. Don't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 13 plus 7, 20, 30.
Okay. All right. Gerbil, you sneak in. The rest of you, like, see Gerbil kind of start in there, and then you kind of lose track of him. Where did he go? So, Gerbil, you sneak in, and, yeah, you don't see any danger inside. It just looks like the room that Tegan described. If you need anything clarified, just let me know. There is that kind of opening in the back of the room, though, that Tegan didn't mention, that kind of leads out into, like, a little opening.
Okay.
Like, with
Gerbil-
sun pouring, like, with sun coming through.
Oh, okay. Light.
Yeah.
So lights. Okay.
Yeah.
Gerbil will. He'll slowly kind of like make his way along the side of the room
Uh-huh.
and just kind of like, as he gets to each door, he'll kind of like listen.
Yeah.
See, like,
Make a
see if he
perception
hears
check.
anything. Ooh. Dirty 20.
You don't hear anything.
Okay.
This room is pretty quiet. There's some sounds coming from, like, the outside in that little, opening, but that's it.
Okay. Then he'll keep going all the way around the room until he gets to the back, to the ledge where
Okay.
the sun is. And
All right, so you get back to that little, that kind of little opening, that kind of leads out to this small little cliff, that looks down into this very, almost seemingly bottomless rift. Now, this one looks different. This one looks more natural. It's not like the rifts that you've encountered while traveling here in Dimglemd. You
So-
don't have that hotness. You don't have the air. You don't see the city and the weird stuff beneath it. It just kind of seemingly just goes down into darkness. You do see some crystals here and there that look like similar to the ones that you saw on the mountain and in the door. But these are kind of like bigger chunks of them. And a few of them kind of, as it gets down further, seem to glow a bit. But those are out of your reach. They're pretty down far into the rift. So you'll see little patches of
so,
glowing there.
sorry.
And you'll also see some of these interesting creatures kind of perched out, because this kind of leads down to the rift, and there's another kind of like mountainside just right on the other side of this. Oh no, wait a minute. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm getting my map correct here. Okay. Yeah, this leads down to rift. You can see some land on the other side of the rift, and you can see some like mountains kind of like, you know, you're looking kind of over off of this little like balcony almost of there on the mountain. You can see some of the rest of the mountain range kind of sprawled out, to the side of you. You have this huge rift in front of you that goes down to nothing. On the other side of that, you do see some land as well, but it's kind of mist covered since it's kind of far away. But you see these interesting, as you kind of look down like along the rest of the mountain range, you see these on this side of the mountain. You see these interesting creatures that look almost like mountain lions that we would know, but they have wings. And a few of them kind of flap around lazily in the sky and will kind of perch back onto the mountain.
Okay. And this entire mountain range is in the rift. Like I see it through the rift.
No, the mountain, you're in the mountain, like you went into the mountain range. This is kind of like the other, you approach the mountain range coming here. This is the other side of the mountain range. You can look down at, like, when I say down, I mean like down the, this way.
Okay,
yeah.
so, okay, all right. So it's just,
inside the rift just goes down to darkness, other than there's like little crystals kind of glowing.
Okay, so the rift is like a natural, just dark crevice.
Yep. Pretty big, very wide, but yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, and so basically, it's not a cave. It lets out onto the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Did anyone come behind me?
Tegan would have just entered the door and watched what was going on.
I would have come in.
Yeah, I'm just by the door.
Okay.
Detecting the magic.
How's Tulip? Does Tulip notice the weird flying mountain lions?
Tulip seems to still kind of be sitting pretty close to you. Kind of clutched up against your neck.
This is through a portal or through an
No.
opening?
It's just through
It's
an
an
opening.
opening.
It's just
Okay.
like a
So
little,
it's like-
yeah.
It's a natural.
Yeah, it's
route
just like a
into the
natural
other
opening.
side,
Yeah.
How far? How wide is the rift? Like to get to the other side?
Oh. Make a survival check for me.
Uh, 13.
Okay. You're looking at probably like 200 feet. Maybe even more, maybe like 300.
Okay. I'll walk back over to Tegan and Renaris at the door and it opens up into the other side of the mountain range. It opens into there's a giant cliff rift, not like what we've seen, like just natural. There's some can't see the bottom, it's dark, except for some crystals embedded in the wall are glowing the further down. And then there are these, they're not quite griffins, but they're like lions with wings on the other side. I can't say I've seen those before, but it's that rift, crevice. It's 200 to 300 feet wide, so it's not going to be easy to get across unless
No, we're not
if we
going
want
across
to
that.
go.
No.
Tegan's like, no.
No.
I mean,
200 feet, no.
The lizards,
Don't fly.
but they're good jumpers and they can climb on walls.
You could try jumping over that with a lizard.
I mean, I only have a right to the backside, so I have to put it to a vote. But does Renaris, do you see anything going on with these doors?
Did I see anything with
Your detect magic?
as we went inside?
Nope.
Oh. They seem to be dormant. I don't sense anything magical about them. How about the crystal?
Nope. No magic.
It's very strange, as reminiscent as it is of Baron.
Gerbil will go up to one of the doors.
Okay.
And he's gonna put his hand on the handle,
Okay.
kind of like look at Rotarius and Tegan, and then he's gonna try to open the door.
It opens right up.
Out falls Regina.
No. Oh, that would have been.
She's now a lich.
That would have been wonderful. That would have been glorious, but no. No, Gerbil, the door opens right up. No one's inside. Inside, there is a crystal on the ceiling. It's a very small, like almost closet. It's a very small space. There's a crystal on the ceiling, as well as some other crystals kind of like embedded. And this is the same crystal that is in the middle of the room, just in smaller chunks. And some crystals like embedded into the wall as well, into the stone. And as well as some chains with some manacles.
While he's doing
Um,
that, Tegan's going to ask Kazeel to go just poke his head in the door. Not the door that the gerbil's in, but the big door, the 50-foot door,
Okay.
and take a look with the scope to see if he sees any Shiga spirits.
Sure. You mean like out in the passage where we came from, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Beyond the door, looking at the
All
big
of it.
crystal.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
He'll use this. No, there's nothing here.
That's
You know,
what I
we
thought.
should probably just give him like a little
Like,
head thing where just like it's always affixed in front of his eye.
yeah.
Steampunk. Yeah.
He could pull it off.
But would he want to mess up his hair?
I'm gonna give once Gerbil walks out of that room, I'm gonna give him like the nod, like it's time to go.
I'd say, yeah. I'll of course say that inside the room
Just like Baron.
is, well, yeah. Then we'll chains and manacles, and crystals in the wall. So yes.
Well, the good news is they're not using it to power it right now. So,
That doesn't mean
we
they
know it's
haven't,
here,
or
which
and
is
we can assume that probably most of these other places are similar, which, we could discuss it as we're leaving. I can't imagine a big sealed door by magic doesn't have some precautions that don't notify somebody.
Okay, so you're leaving the room?
Yes. I don't like that face. I feel like it's like, do we need to go and check all the other doors?
no, we do
Is
not.
Regina in one of them?
No,
Is
we do
Shannon
not.
in one of them?
No,
Is
we do
everybody
not.
we're looking for
I'm
in one of those rooms? Just not that first room?
So y'all leave. Doing nothing else being done in this room.
Is
Is there
there's
any
nothing,
writing, or there's
Where
on
are you looking for writing at, Tegan?
maybe the base where the crystal is.
Make a perception check.
Sure. 11.
No, no writing.
Okay.
has a little room
I
with
will
the chains.
say, we'll go ahead and say that as you're looking for that Tegan, you do notice that there is a rudely fashioned teleportation circle kind of drawn on the floor, or kind of almost almost embedded into the floor near that back balcony that leads out to the mountainside.
Oh boy. That's a tough decision. I will show it to Rhaenyra
Okay.
and say, like, maybe you want to write this down.
You don't suggest that we use it right now? do
No,
you?
not now. No, but correct me if I'm wrong, but if you know this runic circle, you can come here later.
That is correct. We would need to be in Glemt already, but yes.
It's up to you.
Um,
I'm just a suggestion.
While
Jarfel?
they're doing that, has the room with the chains and monocles, does it look like it's been evidence of like being used recently or in the past? Like, is it dried blood or something? Or
I would say with your check, you don't. I mean, it looks pretty. No, there's no dried blood. There's no signs of like struggle or like scratching on the walls or anything. In fact, I would say most of you can kind of notice this place looks fairly untouched.
Just for the heck of it, he's gonna just open up the next door just to see if it's the exact same.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay. Then at that point he'll
And
He'll
then you're.
probably just-
Never mind.
what?
It was a joke, but it wasn't
Oh.
a very good one. I was going to
Because
say.
it would all freak us out.
No, I was going to say, and then your dead wife's head rolls up to you.
Curiosity killed the gerbil.
Bumps into your foot as you're standing there.
Curiosity killed the gerbil, says the spider who just walked right in.
As a spider.
But yeah, no, the room looks the same as the
Okay.
previous one.
Okay, then he'd probably just stand guard by the ledge while Renarius copies,
Okay.
making sure the weird
Yeah, they seem to be
flying lions.
kind of going about their business. A couple of them kind of notice you kind of standing there, but they don't seem too bothered.
Alrighty.
So you are leaving the room.
Tegan is itching to get out of this
Okay.
room.
So you leave. Get on your riding lizards, right?
Close, I guess, close the
how
door
do
as
we
best we can.
How?
I was wondering if you'd remember to close the door.
Gerbil
I
will,
wasn't
like,
going to
once-
say anything.
Once everyone comes out, Gerbil's gonna like, so how how do you suggest we go about this?
Did it open? Did the door, for the record, did the door open in or did it open out?
Opened in.
Yeah, I pushed Gerbil.
Okay.
There's no
so we
handles.
just gotta. There's no handles, but we just gotta.
How thick is the door?
Oh, how thick is it?
Yes.
Well,
Give us the girth,
uh,
Stephanie.
let me give you the girth. Probably about 8 inches.
It's not very
okay.
thick.
That's not what I was expecting.
No.
Okay.
That's a thick door.
But like 50 by 50.
How about
8
10 inches? Yeah, 10 inches.
Alright,
Yeah,
10 inches.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
that's
a
better.
little more respectable,
a
I
little bit
guess.
more respectable. Yeah.
Okay. Gerbil, like, try to pull it close.
Make a strength check, Gerbil.
I will help.
Okay,
With
good.
advantage.
I forget, are monks strength or dex base?
Depends.
That answer that question, I guess. We have no melee characters.
I mean, I
Or
kind
the-
of am.
Well, I mean, no strength based. I mean, no, yeah, okay. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
With
advantage?
Yes. I rolled a 2 and a 6.
Okay.
So that would be a 7.
Gerbil's having a rough time, and it's not being like all of his. He must have used all of his strength trying to get the doors open. So he's definitely struggling. It's not budging very much. It seems to be kind of maybe caught on a piece of stone. It doesn't seem to be as easy to get closed as it was to open.
Tegan will sigh very loudly
Wow.
and then go into his pack, his backpack, and rummage for a bit. Come up with a couple pitons. I guess they're pronounced pitons. Pitons.
Sure.
Pitons.
Yeah.
And crudely, I guess with pitons comes a hammer,
Okay.
and hammer a couple pitons into the door. How
Because
many,
Okay.
how many times
Remember-
can I mispronounce this? And attach a rope to the pitons and Get on my lizard.
He keeps saying it different every time.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I love the patons.
The baton.
I mean, one of them's got to be right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yep. I will loop the rope through and get on my lizard and try to pull it closed with my lizard.
Okay. Sounds
There's
like
a phrase.
sounds like a euphemism. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, what's the strength of those things? Hold on.
Of your lizard? That's a
Yeah.
personal question.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
had shared that, but
So yeah, so you put so first, let's make a strength check into getting this piton into the store. The pitons.
okay. This is not my strong suit. A 4, a -1.
Oh God, dang. Yeah, you try. In fact, you hit your hand a bit during one attempt.
Son of a.
Yeah. Yeah, Tegan looks busy doing something. Why don't I go ahead and let you make a second strength check for the others, like another one.
Okay.
We'll give you one more chance, Tegan.
Do you need some help, Tegan?
Yes, I do.
I will help in whatever way a mundane
Okay.
Venarius can.
All right, make a strength check with advantage. I guess, Rhaenyra is there holding the holding the piton and.
Please don't just don't cause me any pain.
Why am I? Why is it straight? Maybe it should be a dexterity hit to hit a piton.
You have to knock that into the door.
Like this. I gotta have her. I rolled a 3 and a 7.
I tell you what, you get it in there. You hit your hand again. You hit Rhaenyra's hand,
Right.
but you're able to get the piton, one
I'm
piton into the door.
I'm a rogue, damn it, not a carpenter.
And you tie the rope onto the piton and
Attach it to the saddle.
make
on the
a dexterity check for that knot tying, sir.
Gerbil
Sure.
We'll mimic the exact sigh he gave.
That Tegan gave Gerbil. Yes. Thank you.
All right, damn you, finish D&D Beyond. We're going to.
Yeah. Blame D&D Beyond, yeah.
All right, 14 plus 4, 18.
Okay.
On the dex
yeah, you're
check.
able to tie a knot. And pretty strong one, you can tell.
Right.
You're able to tie it onto the lizard as well, into your lizard.
Right, onto my
Good
lizard.
luck. Yeah.
Oh,
Giddy up.
Gerbil will come up to the lizard and he'll pat its side or wait, who's doing the check technically speaking right now that it's tied to the lizard?
I guess the lizard will be making a check.
Okay, yeah, so he'll pat the side of the lizard and I feel bad because I literally only just now remembered that Gerbil's now a cleric, so he'll cast guidance on the lizard.
Thank you, sir.
So that's a D4
How
plus a
benevolent.
D4.
All right. Since this is your lizard, Tegan, do
Yes,
you
it
want
is.
to make the D20 roll, or do you want me to?
You can make the D20
Okay.
roll. I have 0 confidence.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Plus a D4.
I tell you what, you've done so much prep to this. Okay. All right. Okay. Plus a D4. D4s are never at the top of my dice tray here. I always have to here, we're just going to do this. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you have the lizard pull on this piton, and the door closes. You hear it kind of scrape, you kind of feel it at first it seems a little like it's stuck, and then the lizard kind of gives a little, push or pull, and the door pulls closed with a scrape against stone, and this kind of stone against stone noise as the two doors meet once again. Doors closed.
I will
Okay.
untie the rope, take the rope off, and get on my lizard. Thankful that we got that damn door closed.
Are the pittons still in the door? Is the pittons still in the door?
I'll toss the hammer to Gerbil.
Okay. Gerbil will try to get the
Okay.
pitten out of the door. If the goal is to act like no one's been here.
Okay. So are you just trying to just knock them out, Gerbil? Like with the hammer?
Yeah, he's trying to just
Make
get
a
the pitten
strength
out.
check then.
Oh joy. I can guide myself. I can give myself a guidance.
There you go.
That's how that works.
That's how it
Clerics.
works. Yeah.
Oh, so exciting. Okay. Yeah, so 15 plus D4, 17.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to knock the piton out of the door.
Okay.
There's a little bit of like a little, niche, kind of in the stone because of it, but it's not extremely noticeable.
Can I cast Mending?
Oh,
Does that work? Does that work on it?
I don't know. Let's see what I haven't used mending in a bit.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
mending is, let's see, repairs a single break or tear in an object you touch, such as a broken chain link, two halves, a broken key, a torn cloak, or a leaking wineskin. Larger than one. Okay, it's not larger than that. Yeah, I'd say you're able to cast mending and fix the little
okay.
niche in the stone.
As soon as I do that, I'm gonna say a prayer of thanks to Elstray and like get the F out of here.
Make a religion check, Gerbil.
Ooh. Oh. Can I give myself another guidance? Is there a limit to cantrips? It's been so long since I've been a magic person.
I mean, no?
Nope. That will.
Yep. Hey, I mean, it's still pretty bad. 9.
Okay. All right, cool.
He's new at praying. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, you feel good about it, but nothing beyond that. All right, so y'all get on your lizards.
I feel like that's such like a commentary of religion in general. Just like you feel good about it. You
Feel good
know?
about it. So y'all get on your lizards. Door successfully closed. Piton removed, and start on your way. So, you came. It is. I will say it is probably getting evening time. Because you've been traveling. You traveled here for like 3/4 of the day. And so it is evening. I would say you probably have another hour before it starts getting dark.
I said, yeah. If that's the case, I'd suggest we head back west, away from this. And can we, at this point, looking at the map, can we just progress north towards Rakath, or is there just all forest in the way that direction? Like if we just at the if at the doors, if we just turned north and headed towards Rakath, would that-
Yeah. I guess where on the map was the door, technically speaking?
You would be, it was kind of where you see where that kind of eastern mountain range kind of like dips down.
Mhm.
Around there. Not like at the dip, but like right there. Not like at the very like top edge of the mountain range is what I mean. Kind of in that middle area.
So like under the G of Solder.
Oh, no, in the mountain range under that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, where
Yeah.
like it looks like there's water,
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
water.
So
Because,
if we headed,
because
if we
that's where
headed-
the corner of the triangle is.
Yeah, okay. So if we headed north around,
we'd be heading towards the A in Slaughterglade, the last A. Right?
The last, you mean the E, kind of? The
Yeah.
aid?
Yeah.
Aid.
the
Yeah.
aid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you look that way and you see forests. So you can definitely start that way.
I say let's go for it.
Okay, let's go until make camp time, and then we'll
You can
make
probably
camp.
travel a couple of hours until you get to S'more Forest.
Yep.
Now, okay, all right. Well, it looks like forest. You travel an hour, and you start to get that kind of what happened when you were going from the summer. What was that place called again? The Summer Shadow into the Slaughter Glade before. You start, and it's nighttime even, so you can't even see. I mean, those with dark vision would be able to see the that there are these flashes of the landscape changing. It goes from forest ahead to this kind of like cracked earth with the pillars and this kind of like giant moving in the background with the tall swords, what you recognize from the from the Slaughter Glade before. And you'll get little blips of that. And along with that, for those who can't see in the dark, you'll suddenly feel extremely hot. Like, well, all of you will. You'll get these kind of like sudden bursts of heat. They're just unexplainable. Zavar, this is strange to you. You've never really traveled into the Slaughter Glade. You've only been to like the altar. So you suddenly feel just like these kind of like bursts of heat. And then all of a sudden it'll be back to normal, which is kind of like this, the altar, kind of like this chilly evening, 80-degree day. And that starts to get more and more, it progresses as you continue on for the next, probably hour, until suddenly, like 2 hours in, you start to be hit with it consistently. Now, I will say it is nighttime by now. You could either back up a bit and camp somewhere that's not that's not burning up, or you could camp here where it's like scorching hot, which is manageable, but it's hot.
How many of us can fit in Renarius' little hut?
Oh, that's right. How many can fit into your hut, Renarius?
It is. Hang on, I'm looking it up now to make sure that it is like air conditioned.
I think it is. I think it's a comfortable, like it specifically says, like it's a comfortable temperature.
Climate controlled tent.
It's a 10-foot radius, so a 20.
We're getting
foot
close together.
Dome. All of us can fit.
The lizards wouldn't be able to fit in there.
Right.
But all of us can squeeze in there.
Tia would suggest that we just back up to where there's more forest than anything else.
Okay.
And then make camp there. And that way we could tie up the lizards onto trees so they don't scamper off on us overnight.
That sounds like a good idea, Tegan.
So you go back about a half hour, I would say, until you start getting out of that heat. And, are able to find a nice little place in the forest to bed down for the night. So everyone ties their lizards to trees?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Anything else that anyone wants to do before going to bed?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to. Is this a Zoom meeting? Yeah, Zavar will pull out the gold box and check to see if there's anything inside it.
Okay. Zavar, you open the box. You open that little clasp on it, and there is a velvet pouch inside, along with a note that's kind of sticking out of it, a letter.
Is it addressed? Anything written on the outside of the letter?
Nope. Just folded up piece of paper.
Okay. I'll just hold it up and say, hey, we have gotten another message from the magic box. Who wants to read it?
What's in
I
the
mean-
box?
Gerbil. I imagine Gerbil was close by since we were both tying up our lizard. No, he would have liked Zavar tie up the lizard.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I've been reading them, so
You know these people better than I do still.
assuming it's from the same people. Okay.
Well, one would hope.
All right, you open up the letter. You open up the note. It's more of a note
Yes.
than a letter, but it's signed from Geneva. Just saying that it says I may be able to help you with more if you need it. Signed Geneva. And this was kind of stuck inside the velvet bag that's kind of drawstringed closed.
I might be able to provide. What was the?
More.
I might be able to provide more if you should need it.
Sort of like leading that there's whatever in the bag she can get more of if we need it.
Okay, this is Jonathan Meta. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be the magic sand for the time device. That's
Okay.
what Gerbil's. That's what.
Okay.
That's what Jonathan's gonna guess.
All right.
He's gonna open up the pouch.
It's filled with gold.
Oh, that's better than magic sand.
I will save you counting it. 7,000 golds inside.
Ooh, where was that last episode? We're going back to
Going back to the altar.
Whoa.
Are the trees that we tied our lizards up to? Are they close enough? I could throw my new hammock
Oh, sure.
between them.
Yeah.
Oh yes. She's gonna take her new 1,000 gold over to her hammock and just tie the thing across the trees.
No, wait. Did you divvy it up, Gerbil?
Jeroboam.
But
She's
not right now. It's
Junie is right
Wait,
there. Her tail
Bill.
is wagging.
he'll let everyone know that
Ah,
that's like
Gerbil,
she just gave us 7,000.
we could die by tomorrow. I want to. I
And
can't.
what would that? How would having?
It would make me
1,000 gold
feel
on you.
better. It would make me feel a whole lot better. Okay? Can I, please?
I-
Can I just?
We should probably talk about your values of what's important in
It's
life
a-
situations.
It's very important. She's gonna go hang up her hammock and jump into it and just.
Okay, so it's Gerbil will at least he'll take out 1,000 gold. There's 7 of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so he'll take out 1,000. He'll divvy it out.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So everyone
All right.
gets 1,000 gold.
Thank you. And she's just hanging in her hammock.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to do before? Ramirez, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm gonna do my nightly give everyone water breathing and then set up my tiny hut.
I love
I
it.
love it.
Okay.
After Gerbil's done counting the gold, he's keeping the velvet pouch though.
Okay. All right.
Unless Zavar really wants it.
You can have the pouch.
All right, thank you. Gerbil will. He'll read a bit more. of-
Okay. Your Griffin book. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say you're getting along in that pretty well. Probably like another night or two of reading, and you'll have it done.
Okay. And then, as it's like he gets like comfy and make sure his tulip's all
Yeah, Tulip's
Good.
doing okay. A little bit not as clingy to you as was before, but still,
it's stressed her out.
I'd say it's mostly sleepiness now.
Right. So, then he'll. So he'll very very quickly before he falls asleep, he'll just kind of hold the Elistray medallion and just say a prayer, thanks for the I don't know, the pray he did earlier the guiding.
Okay.
So
All right. Anyone-
Illustrate was the god I worship.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yeah, that was the one
Okay,
that
just
you
making sure.
decided to start worshiping. Yeah. Anyone else have anything before nap time, sleep time?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Oh, should we have set up watch? We probably should have set up
Oh,
a watch.
you're not setting up watch?
Never mind. After he says the Gerbil will take first watch.
Okay.
All right, Tegan will take first watch with Gerbil.
Okay. All right.
That was
Would
about to
like
go
be
very
on
bad.
Third watch.
Okay.
I'll take third with Renarius.
Okay.
We'll make Kazeel do second.
Yeah, we'll say Kazeel or Pixram will do second, or maybe they'll do it together.
Yeah. How many watches are there?
3. Yeah.
Three? Okay.
Yeah. I must make a roll on my end. Watches are fine. Nothing happens. Y'all are good. You wake up the next morning. It's oddly silent, but not a lot of animal noises or anything over here. Sorry.
Can I just retcon one thing on my watch with
sure.
Gerbil?
Yeah.
During the watch, I'm just going to talk to Gerbil and say, how much do we tell Polo about his curiosity is going to get the best of him?
I don't think at this point. I don't think there's anything we can do to stop him. I mean, at some point for his own safety, I don't think he should be like. We're heading to some dangerous places. I mean, hopefully he'll realize that. But I think at this point, if we were to tell him to not be curious or to not follow us or what have you, I think that would just guarantee that he would.
No, I mean more about the door and
Oh,
what we found inside.
I mean, was he paying attention?
He was writing it down.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't even know if any of us
I mean,
even
who
noticed
is
whether or
he?
not he came in the room with us.
Is Polo still with us?
Yeah, Polo's still with
we
you.
locked him in there. No,
Hey guys!
Ka-dong!
oh gosh.
And we hear a mountain lion run off.
That's the BBG.
Oh gosh. He was a vampire.
A very old Polo catches up with us.
he summons like a vampire lich.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't exactly know what he saw. I mean, we barely know what we saw. I mean, he's been writing down. I mean, hopefully, if we encourage the vampire stuff enough, no one will believe it if he ever, I mean, hopefully by the time he finishes his books or whatever, the world will be saved or destroyed and it won't matter. So, I mean, his odds of surviving this probably better than us, to be honest, just because he's
Yeah, I figure the less he knows,
small
the
and-
better. But
I mean, I think we just, for right now, let him, do his thing, and if it starts to become a problem, well, I mean, it's not like we're gonna carry him with us directly into this meeting, I imagine we'll create some kind of backup plan. But I don't know. But
Something to think about.
yeah, something else to think about. Talking about the door and everything. You know, just a reminder that one of those other points of the triangles on the Osbergen map was Fairweather. And we know that Fairweather has bolstered their defenses and built a wall and tower. We already know they were not really to be trusted. So that's something fun to think about. It's not like they have a shortage of mages.
Well, we have to get back and find out. They're walled up, that's for sure, and they've built a tower. So that's, if I was willing to place a bet, that's probably where it is, at the bottom of that tower, or the top. But that's for another day. Let's see what they have to say. And they probably, now that I think about it, they were probably, maybe we shouldn't rush too much on Jocelyn. Maybe they were making him the same offer.
Well, there's a lot we don't know with the Jocelyn side of things. It's still just strange that he was Philip.
Well, it's apparent they're reaching out to people.
Yeah. If only we had a sending stone to Jocelyn.
If only.
If only. Maybe we'll have Tegan or Kazeel send him a message.
We can do that. We can sit Kazeel down long enough for 5 minutes. All right, let's go wake up. Speaking of which, let's go wake up Kazeel and Picture, and it's their turn for watch.
Okay. So I'm gonna wake up the next watch. So the rest of the night goes by smoothly. You all wake up the next morning.
We're in areas on our watch. Anytime he wasn't talking, I was telling him more about my backstory.
Oh, good. Good.
And we all know Renarius is too polite to ever interrupt.
I'm sure he heard it all and probably 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite fascinating. Did you hear something?
No, but like I was saying,
And all of a sudden, the best of friendships was born.
Yes.
Savar keeps talking and Renarius just keeps listening. Poor Renarius.
All right, yeah. So y'all wake up the next morning. Everything good. We start out on our journey. Continue on, going north.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Into the Slaughter Glade Mountains.
All right. I would say that. Are you traveling again? Are you leading the pack again, Tegan?
Yep.
All right. Make that survival check, please.
Okay.
Can Gerbil help with
Sure,
the map?
Gerbil
Like
can
before
help.
we start going,
Yeah.
Gerbil helps with the map and shows it.
$21.
Okay. You're able to navigate north. I mean, not that difficult. It's pretty straight. A lot of forest. Oh, well, no, sorry. God, I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
You have that hour before you get into the slaughter glade. So that's when things, you get that heat, and then it just goes into that consistent heat. The lizards seem to be doing okay in the heat. They seem to be kind of doing all right in it. For the rest of you, it's very hot. Very hot. Gerbil, you're sweating. Juniper, you notice him sweating.
It's
Why are
true.
you so obsessed with me?
And
Woman
but
never tells her
Tegan
secrets.
is leading the way, doing a great job. Seems to know what he's doing with Gerbil's help with the map. They're up there kind of like, whoa, this here and that. And yeah, and then about halfway through the second day, or through this first day, I don't know, yeah, second day, you ahead of you, you see this, it looks like as you get closer, it looks like a figure, it looks like a woman, with these kind of large red wings, and she's just standing there amidst the slaughter glade, pillars around her. Again, the slaughter glade, like, you have these kind of like pillars here and there. Not so many over here as there was when you're passing the other side, you know, when you were coming towards the altar. But here and there, you'll see these pillars with these kind of weird human-like carvings in them. You'll also see these like huge swords here and there, as well as these kind of large things kind of walking in the distance, and kind of this kind of ash falling in the air as well. A very kind of desert, you know, with cracked earth sort of a landscape otherwise, but just standing in the road about 50 feet from you now is this woman with these large red wings, this blonde hair that's kind of cut around her chin, and it's just standing there, seemingly waiting for you. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Oh, it's your girlfriend.
Oh,
So for those of you watching, that's the end of tonight's session. Thank you, players. Thank you, viewers. Y'all are the best. Yeah, we have a lot going on here on Madbird Streams. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays we have D&D 5e content. On Saturdays we have D&D content twice, one at 6 p.m. and one at 10 p.m. I think everything, just keep an eye on our Discord if you're not part of that. Please join. It's the best way to kind of stay up to date if we have any sudden cancellations or any postponements. And yes, I think Curious Limit's probably still up in the air this week, as well as Obsidian Scar. Everything else should be going without a hitch. The schedule will need to be updated because Dungeon Craft and Mad Art with Stuff are on a extended hiatus, unfortunately, due to my schedule change. So, but we'll get that updated for you shortly enough. But yeah, join our Discord. We also have a Patreon, so if you're looking for a way to support the channel, great way to do so. Head on over there, and let's see if there's anyone that we can raid over to. Let's see here. Usually someone else already has this pulled up nice and ready, and I'm the one. Okay, all right. So I think that we can head over to Quests in Chaos. They seem to be having some D&D content this evening called Swords and Sages, only episode 5. So let me just get that command in here. But yeah, let's head over to Quests in Chaos. Give a... Oh, well, did I do that wrong? Quests... Oh, maybe I was doing it. There we go. Quests and Chaos. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, thank you again. It's been great. We'll see you, hopefully for Curious Limit tomorrow, but if not, then towards the end of the weekend, we have some of our other D&D 5e content. So, you are the best, and until next time, bye!
Bye.